What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So today is part one of the Flankster Academy Awards. So we're going to be talking about sort of like a year-end review of the statue year. Some of the best and worst statues I've received and so forth. Now, I'm doing this as a two-part because I'm still waiting for a few more statues to come in that I think will be absolute contenders for some of the categories we're going to be talking about. So, we're going to do a few categories today. Watch out for Gizmo, he keeps attacking me. And yeah, let's basically get to it. So, as of right now, I've received about 80 statues and high-end props. I'm only including props that are usually cost about $200 or more, or, something at least like that, for example. But the majority of that is statues. I probably only included 6 props. But we received a lot of statues this year, and I still have about 4 to potentially 6 statues arriving by the end of the year. And, 2 of those are definitely contenders for Statue of the Year for me. We got Queen Hulkbuster and Jetwing Optimus, which I think one of those 2 will be the best statue I received this year. So we will see. That is all next week. But we definitely can talk about some other categories where, we have received all those statues, and so I can definitely determine which one is my favorite. So, let's just basically get to it. First, we're going to talk about Best Life-Size Bust. So here are the contenders of the Best Life-Size Bust I've received. Now, I am only including right now, in pretty much every category but one, statues that have released and I've received this year that were brand new. For example, the T1000 is a long released piece, so that will be included in a different category of best older statue I received. But for every other category, it has to have been released this year that I received this year. For example, Prime 1 Predator isn't going to be on my list because I have not received mine. Others may have, so it will, for me, be on next year's list of a potential contender of Best Statue of the Year. So let's go ahead and look at this category. So first is Lita Bust. I did receive that earlier this year. This is one of Queen's best life-size busts they've done. I would say it's between this and Wonder Woman as their 2 best life-size busts released recently, and of course also Arnold. But that is definitely a contender. Look at this. This little guy just keeps biting. He can't control his bite, and it hurts. Alrighty, let's look at some of the other busts that are definitely top contenders. There's 2 busts in this room that are contenders for, best bust of the year. You have Superman bust, which was released this year. Absolutely, perfect bust. It is phenomenal. Incredible likeness to Henry Cavill. Awesome pose and concept. Great base. Some of the best detail on any bust out there. Absolutely amazing. Such a shame we won't see him again in Superman. However, anytime something bad happens in life, I always try to think of the good side of things. We may not see him again, but we did get 3 amazing movies of him. Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. So I am still very happy we got to see him in 3 movies. We also have Infinity Studios' Joker bust. This bust is absolutely amazing. It truly is. It's grown on me a lot as well. Conceptually, one of my favorite bases on a bust. I absolutely love it. The whole look of it, it's massive, has a ton of presence, an incredible face, and I just love this bust. I'm so happy I got the production sample, like an AP model, and it really is, a keeper for me. And I really love it. So definitely a contender up there is one of my favorite busts. And let's go to the final bust that's going to make this list. We'll also throw out a, one that almost made the list. So we got Bruce Lee bust, of course. I received this year. This was not even a pre-order. I just bought it once it went in stock. But I am a huge fan of Bruce Lee. I've always been a big fan of martial art movies since I was a little kid and loved Bruce Lee. I've seen every movie of his multiple times, all the TV series, where someone portrayed him in his life. And this bust is absolutely amazing. It has, for me, the best likeness of all, my human bust, I think this has the best likeness. This has crazy presence due to this arm sticking out. It's like, God, this thing sticks out so much. It's crazy. But absolutely amazing. Another bust that I think is just incredible is the KD Goku bust. You know, for like an anime bust, this thing is absolutely perfect. I mean, I would have preferred 2 full arms, but for what it is, the paint app, the sculpt, this thing really stands out, and it truly is an amazing bust, and so I'm very happy with it. So that's definitely a contender. Although as good as that is, it cannot compete against like some of the silicones due to the level of detail. But in terms of how much I love it, this definitely is up there as one of my favorite busts. So when you think about best piece, it comes down to a few things. Obviously, paint, sculpt, concept, and how much emotional attachment you have to the character as well. I look a little gizmo. So, you know, like some of these Infinity busts, you know, they definitely have phenomenal concepts. The, you know, detail and sculpt is so amazing. It's really a matter of, you know, which one was just done a little bit better than the last, if you know what I mean. So I have to look at flaws. You know, like this Superman bust has a 95% likeness in my opinion. The base is probably an 8 out of 10 concept. I mean, I'd put that at a near 10 out of 10 concept. Joker bust likeness is probably more like 90%. He is missing a little bit of hair. The base, 10 out of 10. Alita bust is missing 1 arm. The base and concept and detail is definitely 10 out of 10. Has one of the best, you know, glass eyes we've seen out there. So definitely one of the best. The presence is pretty good. You know, like it's not super tall, but it is wide and deep. And just, of course, it has all those mechanical parts and a giant sword. So definitely something that is really, really impressive. Bruce Lee bust. Base, for what it is, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love the dragon and the classy look. Likeness is like 99.9%. You know, has nunchucks, the hand sticking out, tons of silicone, which has just incredible, you know, like realism. You know, like it looks like a real arm. The best hair, like the hair doesn't bug me at all. It's like perfect hair, you know, and perfect eyes. You know, and this one's the most realistic, like, you know, this one truly does look like a real human. You know, where Superman and Joker are incredibly close, like 98% close to a human, where he's 100. So for that reason, plus the perfect concept, perfect likeness, Bruce Lee is the best bust of the year. So this is bust of the year for me. So congratulations, Infinity Studios and Bruce Lee, for winning bust of the year. If I had to put my second favorite, it'd probably be the Joker bust. So that is bust of the year. Now let's get on to category number 2. So let me look at my list. Alrighty, so let's talk about the next category, which is going to be Best 1/3 Scale Statue. I'm not receiving any more 1/3s this year, so we can talk about my favorite 1/3 of the year. So number 1 on the list, which was like the first 1/3 I got, is Big Chap. This did arrive in January. So this bad boy truly is impressive. Massive presence, 35 inches tall, impeccable paint app. You know, I love the back wall, the paint app in the like dome, in the shoulders, everything, the chest. I love the concept, you know, walking around, super scary looking, you know, and I added a bunch of extras to the base, which frankly should have just been included. But this is definitely, you know, one of my absolute favorite statues in my collection now, you know, like a top 10, and it truly is just incredibly impressive. So that's the first one. Second would be the Fawn 1/3 Maquette by Elite Creature Collectibles. This piece truly is amazing and definitely underrated out there. Phenomenal detail with the glass eyes and the moss, the fairies, the incredible base. It may not be massive and, you know, from the most popular movie, but I really do love Pan's Labyrinth. I think it's an awesome movie. And I love the creature design. You know, I'm a big fan of creatures, and this piece truly is one of my favorites. So definitely, you know, a contender for top 1/3 for me. And two more statues I would put as contender for top 1/3 of the year. Gizmo. It's going to have to be the two J&D girls I got. Gizmo's barking. So you got Catwoman and Harley. Now, when it comes to concept, these are really just like museum quality statues. Museum style base with that like black acrylic with the logo. Very simple upper base, but it looks incredibly realistic. Like the pavement, the glass, the snow effect. Very realistic. Like it doesn't get more realistic. And then these statues themselves, now granted they don't have a lot of presence. Like they are smaller 1/3. It almost feels just like a large 1/4. Excuse me. But this does have the best detail of any statue out there for a 1/3. You know, silicone, glass eyes, hand-punched hair, mixed media. Everything about this just screams hyper-realism. Hence, it's also extremely expensive. You know, these go for $2,500. It's actually more than Big Chap. You know, so, I mean, when it comes to detail, these definitely are the best. Conceptually, I'd probably put it just on par with the ECC and Big Chap. It's just a matter of if I had to sell one or the other, which one I think is cooler looking. And to me, it kind of boils down to either Harley Quinn or Big Chap. You know, between those two. Like, I really, really love this Harley Quinn. However, I still think Big Chap is a little bit better. It has more presence in the fact, you know, of the nature of what it is, being a massive alien. I think that alone does make this better. So for me, statue 1/3 of the year is going to be Prime 1 Big Chap. I think this is still the best out there. You know, and one of the best 1/3s in general. So this wins. Congratulations, Prime 1 Studios. Big Chap. Granted, this had issues, you know, like mine, broken toe, broken tail, not fitting all the way, the head base tilts, which is all really annoying, you know. But even the J&D, like Harley, isn't perfect. My bat came crooked, and the bat doesn't stay in perfectly when you put it in. You know, and I'm also not 100% confident on just the way they peg in and are attached to the base. It's very flimsy. Like you barely move it, and they're rocking back and forth, which isn't good. But yeah, every statue has its issues, but for what it is, just looking at it, Big Chap for me is the best 1/3 of the year. All right, let's get to a fun category. Worst statue of the year for me. Alrighty, so I've boiled this down to really two pieces that, well, there's kind of a third, but I wouldn't call it the worst, but it's just disappointed based off expectations. You know, so I would put first the custom Chucky silicone doll. I was very, very disappointed with this piece. One, it was basically just a plush doll. It couldn't stand up. I hated that. Two, I didn't like just the general sculpt. The hair was absolutely horrible, and it just felt so incredibly cheap, and I couldn't box that up any faster. I hated it so much. So luckily I was able to sell it and I didn't lose any money, but I truly hated that thing. It was horrible. But, you know, what I may hate, others may love. So the person that bought off me, I believe they like it, so congrats to them. Next would have to be my custom wolf bust. Now, this had a lot of potential. It was just done extremely poor. Like, the sculpt was amazing. You know, it's a Scott Marshall sculpt. Now, granted, it's not movie accurate, but the general look of it is probably the coolest looking Predator ever for me. The paint app was actually done extremely well. You know, it's just the assembly and some of the material used was extremely cheap. You know, the dreads were foam, but they weren't attached very good, and a lot of them were like just poorly glued in. The tooths were done very poor, plus mine was damaged. It was extremely lightweight. The eyes were horribly done. They should have been glass eyes. They were poorly painted and poorly done. You could see glue everywhere. There wasn't a base. The way you attached the neck collar was horrible. I really wanted to love and keep this piece because the sculpt was so good, and the general paint app, you know, from like 3 feet away was incredible. but I just couldn't get around all those flaws. It bugged me so much. So I did return this to the, person I bought it from and, got my refund. And instead we bought that wolf bust. Now that one doesn't have as good a paint job, but everything else about it is better. So this, definitely was very disappointing considering, I paid like $1,600 for it. And, unfortunately it just was not that good. The other thing I'd probably put on this list, based off expectations, there's obviously, it's a really good bust still, but Infinity Studios Wonder Woman bust, mine had just so many issues, with like the hairline, the lack of black on the armor, the way the gold was painted, just the QC issues, the massive forehead, for a bust that's, going for 5,000 plus in the aftermarket and, all the issues I had, Infinity Studios really should have did a better job on that. That was one of their most hyped busts ever, and I was expecting such a grail. I had such high expectations spending that amount of money, and when it, the more I looked at it, the more I realized that, God, they really did a poor job at this. Just so many QC issues. And so, for that, I was just very disappointed. Luckily I was able to sell it. And granted, I would buy that bust again if I got a good QC one, but I just felt like it was extremely poorly done. It felt like super rushed and, rushed through the factory. And so definitely one of the worser, things for me this year. So I would probably put those three as like the worst pieces I've received based off expectations and just the quality of it. So of those three, the worst is gonna have to be that Chucky doll, though. I hated that thing so much. I truly did. So sorry, Chucky doll. You were the worst piece I got this year. So no congrats there, but that was the worst piece I received this year of like the 85 statues and whatnot. So let's get to the next category, which is going to be best custom piece. Oh, little Gizmo's so playful. So let's talk about some of the customs I received. Technically, Chucky wasn't custom. Not a ton of customs. Like, I'm not as big into customs as other people. So, however, technically, DBZ is custom, so we are going to include that. So, a lot of my DBZ actually is custom because KD is not a licensed company, but we got KD Goku Bust, KD Cell, KD Gohan, KD Vegeta, and Ellie. Now, this is a custom. So, of all these customs, I would say the best for me is KD Goku Bust for like the unlicensed. Unfortunately, a lot of people did receive this damage, like broken arm. Even like my local buddy got his super damaged. But if you get a good one, this is definitely like a Dragon Ball Z grail. Absolutely phenomenal. So this would be the best custom. If we're talking best 1/4 statue, like not a bust, just statue, I'd have to say KD Cell. This piece is truly phenomenal. Now, I do have worries over time that there is going to be issues with this hand and holding this key ball, and it's going to potentially fall and break in the future just because it's so heavy. So hopefully the engineering was done good. I already know a lot of people have had issues with their key ball and it arriving damaged, but it's really going to be over time, like 6 months to a few years from now. Is this going to start all of a sudden falling down, or one day I come in and it's broken off? Hopefully that's not the case, and I really wish KD would have included the additional non-key ball arm just in case that did happen. He said he would, ended up didn't. Said the factory refused to do it, which I don't believe that. But yeah, for what it is, this is the best unlicensed. Like, that defeats Ellie and all the other DBZ I've received. But KD Goku Bust overall is I still like it more than Cell. So KD Goku Bust does win my favorite unlicensed, statue I have received. Alrighty, folks. So that is going to be it for part 1 of the Flankster Academy Awards. Now, next video is when I'm going to get Hulkbuster, Jetwing Optimus. So it's going to be like a week plus from now. And we are going to do an end of year room tour as well once we do get all those pieces and everything situated. So the next categories we're going to be doing in part 2 of this video is best 1/4 scale statue, statue of the year, best statue I've received that has not released this year, best movie of the year, best TV show of the year, best video game of the year, and best company, worst company, best retailer, and so forth. So we'll do all that. We'll do an end of year, full statue room tour. And when, of course, we still have all those unboxing reviews. And then we also are going to look at statues I'm looking forward to the most, in 2022. So yeah, we have lots of good stuff still coming, lots of good statues coming the rest of the year. Hope you all are having a good holiday, spending some time with your family and whatnot. So I pretty much have the rest of the year off, so I'm going to be playing lots of video games and opening statues and whatnot. I'm playing Evil West right now, which is really fun, actually. But yeah, let me know what you guys think and some of your favorites, like bus and 1/3 you've received this year. And I'll see you guys on part 2 of the Flankster Academy Awards. Have a great day.